Wait, let me get a clear view of it. Fine.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we can start now and
Okay.
let people join, or they can check the recording later.
Yeah, I can see people saying now they need to download. So anyway, thank you everyone on call. My name is Emmanuel Sechanzi. I'm from Uganda, and I'm an entrepreneur, public speaker. But today, I'm happy to be blessed to sit and listen from Dhruv Bhai. I call him Dhruv Bhai. He's a brother to me. So over the years, we have met, I think this year, and he made my mindset around innovation, ecosystems change. So today we are going to dig deeper into what does it really mean to be a grassroots innovator. What does it mean to develop an ecosystem? Why is it important to develop an ecosystem, not an innovator as an individual? And from all that, we shall agree on the steps ahead on making Uganda's ecosystem different. So as I now open up a quick introduction, the system today that we have has been built in a way that you create a product, look for an investor or an entrepreneur to push money in that, and then you go out to sell. And few of the people have been focusing on developing an ecosystem. So this has been a big problem, because when we innovate in the society of product, so not every person is an executor, which means we need an innovation in public in service delivery also, to make sure this service that has been created can reach out people in a range. And welcome to the call, the big man himself, Dhruv Bhai, and I would really ask you to introduce yourself to the people, and then we continue. Yes, Dhruv Bhai.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So, my name is Dhruv Saidwa, and since 2015, I am traveling, exploring India, and travel across the globe in different countries also to research more about how the grassroots innovation works and how the ecosystem is built. I also belong to a small farmer family from a village and who migrated to Ahmedabad, and then I got my education over here in Ahmedabad. But slowly I also understood like what are the challenges it comes through, because the families coming from the rural, settling down in the urban area, and then looking forward for the opportunities, and what kind of opportunities people get in the cities and as well as in the rural. And now in the world of technology, there are a lot of routes where a student can easily learn, explore, and design something what he wants. So this is what is my interest, and I have done so far. Last 9 years, I am working on this and continuing on the same journey. So this is what I will be talking today more with Emmanuel. Thank you.
It's really interesting, and I love it that you came from a humble family and you chose to take this path. So my first question to you probably would be, you defining for us what is the meaning of the two words that we're going to discuss today, that is ecosystem and grassroots innovation. So please, could you first let the people, the audience, understand that before we go deeper and make sure that we have everyone on a single page?
Right. So let's understand the ecosystem first. So if you see in every country or any regional, there will be certain ecosystem which has been attached to certain kind of occupation, certain kind of work, or certain kind of routine. And that routine has been coming through cultural value or coming through different kind of inputs. So if you see working in Kanpur, there are leather industries. If you see the working in northern part of Gujarat, there are certain people and tribes who are connected to traditional tribal medicine. So these are small ecosystems. So every ecosystem has certain input. And if you dig down into culture or history, you will find like, okay, the people in this area are good for wood carving, the people in this area are good for stone carving, the people in this area are expert of finding the well under the water, under the ground. So every ecosystem has their speciality. Now coming back to grassroots innovation, the grassroots innovation happens through the cultural, like if you go back 100 years, 50 years back, the people transform their learning and innovation to the next generation. And that is how the grassroots innovation was happening long back. People try to added a lot of thoughts, try to solve certain small level of problem, and implement those solutions to the ecosystem they are working with. And this is how the innovation and journey was being into an ecosystem. Now with the help of technology and everything, the things have scaled so fast. The people can easily connect to the different ecosystem much faster. They can learn and exchange their learnings faster. So currently, if you want to develop any particular local or regional or state level system, you need to think two ways. So one is system and another is subsystem. So here grassroots innovators and grassroots innovator ecosystem plays very important role to create the foundation of any developing culture or any developing ecosystem. So this is how the ecosystem and grassroots both are connected. And the bureaucracy and lot of things are participating in both ways by promoting, motivating, and supporting the ecosystem by encouraging the grassroots innovators. And combinedly they start developing certain things which will impact to the larger audience or larger way to different outer ecosystems. So this is how the terms are being connected.
Wonderful, wonderful, Drupal. And I like the way you are trying to bring out the ecosystem. But one thing I found out, let's say today we are discussing Uganda as an ecosystem, is about the mindset. So we are talking about you people coming on, and then you push this innovation, making sure all the systems come together to support, but then the mindset of the community and their ability to identify a problem and make sure that they shift from the normal day-to-day life of doing things. So I was watching one video of Dr. Anil Gupta of Honeybee Network, who we really respect when it comes to grassroots innovation, where one village man without any physics has never attended any IIT Bombay, has never gone anywhere, found out a problem that when we are on the borehole and we are pushing water, there's a lot of water that is lost because the distance between the handle and where the water comes out is big. So he got the handle and then he put it in the sides. So which means the distance when I'm putting the jerry can and the handle is very small. So we reduce the water that is going out. So my question to you, like from your experience with India, how have you been able to change the mindset of the community that for you to be an innovator, for you to create something new, you don't need to be you don't need to be a PhD holder, you don't need to be a research scholar, you just need to be someone who has identified the problem and you know the solution. How have you been able to change the mindset?
So I will come to few simple points in this. So let's say you want to do something. What is the main driving force which helps you to complete the goal or task which you are designing? And when you see in any person, like if you screen 100 or 200 leaders or the innovators or something, one thing will come is grit, perseverance. And if you combine both of them, the energy is the thing which is fueling them. So in current ecosystem, if you see a kid going to school or a kid working on something, they don't have energy in them and they feel little low in energy from the day one itself. And they, once their energy is down, once their capacity to transform the ecosystem is down, they cannot visualize the longevity of working on a problem. Let's say a person which you talked about, they shifted the design for a hand pump from being 180-degree to 90 degrees, so accessible more to the water. So the person who has thought about it, there will be 100 people who have thought about the idea. But once they want to act, the energy is the thing which will drive them. And once the energy has been very clear, then the repetition, the practice, the iteration will take time. But he will not stop until he has not achieved. And that is what drives the innovation in rural ecosystem or any other ecosystem. If you see, there are examples like people are innovating and they fail. People fail for multiple times, and after a lot of effort, they achieve a certain design. And once that design has been, very well much acceptable, tried, tested, then the design scale to other ecosystem. And this is how the mindset transformation happen in the people. Just a minute. Sorry. The mindset transformation happen in different ecosystem this way. And I need to just connect my mobile back to get me on my video. Just give me a okay, I'm back again. So the mindset is a key factor to this. But mindset development happen at what age? So the second reason is, if you go in any ecosystem, you will find the age between 6 year to 12 year is where the child start developing their mindset. And if you don't focus on the mindset there, then at a longer longevity, that mindset will be rigid and they will not take their ideas to implementation. And that will happen through the energy. So this is how the difference between the mindset, energy, and that is directly connected to grit and perseverance. So if you have those two things very much solved at the ground level from the age 6 to 12 itself, then there are higher chances the people will be more towards thinking about a new idea, taking up the challenge, trying to solve that particular thing for a longevity of time until it is not solved. And they will learn during the solution part also. And once it is solved, they will try to implement and fix the problem. And that is how the cycle of innovation works.
Wow, wow. This is really interesting, and it is making I think the audience that we are having is going to have a lot of questions for you, because we are going now into one of the things that I think is declining. And when you talked about perseverance, I looked at one of the interesting movements that happen in India, and one is Shodhyatra, the one of professional Gupta, where they moved 150 kilometers on legs and they had to suffer. And my question was, why could someone move 150 kilometers, suffer? And when I met the secretary, Chetan Bai, he told me, you cannot solve any problem if you have not felt the pain of the society. And then if they had to persevere all that pain, look at what the problem is in the education system, what are the problems that are facing farmers. And I think that is really great. But now my question is, we are pushing the grassroots innovation. We are saying everyone should be included, whether you have attained a PhD or not. So I know you are good, you have been in the education system. What is happening that the great institutions that could have pushed innovations, right now they are declining? And in my research, I found out that the reason why actually the creativity of the great institutions is declining is because we are holding the knowledge. We don't want to share the creativity. We don't want to share the knowledge. It's like, this research paper is for this institution. No one should know it. And which means you have restricted feedback and you cannot create something that the society needs if you have restricted the feedback. So what is your opinion? I would like to know from the education sector, what is your opinion that the great institutions today that could be pushing innovation, they are declining? And what can we do to make sure that we bring them back to say, you know what, you should be on the top of this to push innovation?
So here, see, there are a few stages if you want to see the longer or longevity of impact. So number one thing is the mindset, what you told about. So if you go back 50 years, 100 years or 200 years back, the people had a lot of struggle to, overcome the entire journey of 1 year to 20 years. They won't have AC, they won't have the communication, they have a lot of troubles and all. So in the back of their mindset, the hardship, the culture of challenging and overcoming the fear, and taking up the different kind of route to achieve that thing is much higher. So if you consider, like, if you have five kids in the classroom, and there are five kids given the right opportunity, everything equal from grade 1 to grade 20, but their family background, their struggle, their hardship is more important. I will tell you, I have a great community of student I'm working with, and I usually provide a lot of opportunities which I get through it from internet. So let's say there's an upcoming competition. Currently, it's open. It's called Samsung Solve for Tomorrow, and that competition has a proper process to apply for and all. Now, let's say if a person has to travel Delhi in a train or in a bus, and he doesn't have a money, but as you rightly mentioned when we met in Amreli, it's about a person who has a glass and cannot see on the blackboard and sitting at the last bench. It's in his control to to go and talk to teacher saying, hey, I cannot see from last bench, can I sit on the front row, or can I sit down and study in the class? So this mindset, like what is in my control and what I can achieve, that is something which is very important, which schools are not teaching right now. Schools go with a very specific approach. They give a very specific syllabus, and that's what has been developed for industrialization. But now the need is innovation, and that need is not for right now. Like from 2030, 40, or 50, the water is going to decline. Groundwater is not going to be as much which we have today. The air purification would not be so proper what we are achieving today. The green cover will be reduced. Okay. So lot of issues which are upcoming in next 30, 40 years. If you can see right now, the heat waves are increasing, climate change has been happening fast. So these issues need to be solved, and that cannot be solved by sitting in the offices. Like everyone has to go through that. And the kids which we are preparing right now are meant to have AC in the school itself. Now think about the person who has the comfort zone starting from his training days itself. They cannot come and join or change the ecosystem or think about innovation and longevity at the longer cost. Okay. And it's more like, you train spatial commandos sitting in an AC room. Okay. Spatial commandos cannot be taught or been trained in an AC room. They go in the grass, they go in every terrain which they have to be trained for. They run for 90 kilometers a day. Okay. Then they are special because in their training they are meant to be having endurance. So the same thing happened in the school itself. Like when I usually have my teaching practices where I'm working as an ecosystem developer right now, I tell my kids, hey, I will put you in a pit. I will wait until one student come outside the pit. And if one student come outside the pit, I'm not going to teach you how to come outside. You better learn from him and come outside. So I'll make sure everyone is out, but I will also make sure that they go in the pit and they learn on their own. So that is how the strategy building work. That is how the communication team building work. That is how the ability to detail or understanding work. And those things have been missed out by just giving them a syllabus. So this is something where the mindset is not getting ready for the challenges which we are assuming that we will able to solve. And from there itself, the communication weakness, the leadership weakness, the identity, observation weakness are starting there. Like I have seen students, they cannot understand with the observation of around system, like this is the fact. And I will be very sad to say that, like if you see a lot of accident and everything happening, like people are not able to judge well, like okay, in this situation this can be happen, and it's a very basic science. And due to that judgment, like if there is a boat going in a water and the boat itself has written not more than 50 passenger, but the person who is 51 is willing to go and sit. So this kind of situation are happening because the analytical power has been declining in the society, the observation power has been declining in the society, and the focus is going towards more like fun oriented rather than the life oriented. Okay. It's been very simple. If you see the memes also, okay, if you want to sell alcohol, you don't need to go to door, people will come to you. But if you want to give them a right kind of medical treatment or yogasana and all, you have to brand, you have to advertise, and you have to do a lot of things. Okay. So this is how the ecosystem is. The mindset has been going towards more of fun, enjoyment, and learning in the time of training. Okay, so the training age is, if you see age 6 itself, the starting point. As soon as you finish your 5, from 5 to age 20, it's your career time. And in that time, you have to live the way which has to be done in future. Let's say you want to be a surgical doctor. If you are sure enough from the age 12 that I want to do a surgery and I want to be a doctor, you start practicing from your hand. You start taking the tools, you start moving small stuff in your desk from the day itself when you decided I want to be a doctor in surgery. So this is how you start train your mind, your understanding and everything from day one itself. And then if you trust, that person will definitely achieve what he want. The timeline can be different according to his family ecosystem and reach according to the capacities of the local bureaucracy and all. But for sure, he is having the mindset to be the best in that particular field. So this is how I think they can do it.
You know, you are surprising me with how you're bringing out these causes and the questions that I'm asking. You know, I was also reading about why grassroots innovators, or those we call that they are from the poor setting, they have limited resources. And I was asking myself, so why are these guys so innovative compared to us who are you are in the SCs, you are in PhD classes? And I found out, okay, it's true. They have limited resources. So the only resource they have is their mindset. So what they're going to do is they're going to tell their mind, you know what? We don't have SC, we don't have cooler. So can we make sure that we can open the windows and the doors so that the cool air enters the house and we have a great night? Or can we take our beds to the rooftop and sleep? So they will innovate because the only resource they have is the mindset. And I liked the way you were teaching your students, like put the student in the pit and then you tell them, come out. Maybe today people will look at that as torture and probably they will say, no, let the students enjoy SC. But I like it. Now, one of the words you have been mentioning over and over has been bureaucracy and politics, and probably the policies that are already in place. And if I look at the innovative education that you are creating, it means there are some policies, there are some government regulations that may be against you. So some of us, and hopefully my people on the call, they fear to start something different because there is a policy against the difference they want to create. So please, at this moment, what information, what motivation, what correction or what point of view could you give to my listener on how they should go on to create change, even though the available policies are against them and maybe the politics and the bureaucracies are non-supportive?
Right. So let's say there are different ways how the policies scale, how the ecosystem scales. So if you see the revolution which was been started in Gujarat for cattle, like Gujarat is one of the largest milk producing industry right now across India, and how the Korean designed the entire thing revolution, and that has been scaled and been very important economically, as well as been creating a lot of options for people to earn income. So every policy come up with one pilot to start with. So think about an ecosystem which is doing 1,000 pilot at a time. Okay, and it has been doing inside an ecosystem. It is not copying from outside. Okay, pilots can be adapted from outside, but practiced within the ecosystem. Then and then it will be succeeded. Once the 1,000 pilots going on, from that pilot, one give you certain outcome, saying, okay, this pilot has give you this outcome, this program has given this outcome. And now those outcomes need to be measured for a while, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 6 month or 3 month. Now, once that is successful, then it goes to the policy level for scaling. Now, wherever in anywhere in the world, the time to complete this particular cycle is less, and the time of try of this kind of cycle is more. Let's say there are 1 lakh pilots going in India. So 1 lakh pilot projects going in India, the data, device, and decisions have been properly mapped, then any single success can be scaled much faster. I will tell you the story of Gujarat itself. So Gujarat has one initiative called Khel Mahakumbh. Okay. So Khel Mahakumbh is a place where all the student from childhood itself can participate in different kind of sports. They go for local, district, and state level competitions, and they participate in various kind of sports. Now, this particular participation happening in that particular area gave tribal community a great source of recognition, because their body, their capacity was much higher than the people in urban. And if you go Dahod and all those regions, they have great participation. Now, in Dahod itself, as soon as government identifies that there are a lot of athletes coming up from Dahod, they budgeted a session and they started building a whole corridor. If you find in Ahmedabad, they have, I think they have only small kind of ecosystem or a place where this kind of training happen. Gandhinagar has the best. They have the sports authority there. But in Dahod, they have a huge stadium, huge swimming pool, huge racing track, all kind of sport facilities and everything in Dahod. So how this was happening? A small pilot of Khel Mahakumbh succeeded. Then the data came in like, okay, the people from this region have the higher capacity in athlete, and now they're participating nationals and internationals. So this is how the pipeline forms once the pilot has been implemented and scaled. Once you find that data where this is happening fast, you learn from it and you implement much faster again. Now, if you check the medical things, in Dahod, the sales of this processed junk food is least. In the entire Gujarat, the amount of processed junk food is been sold out least in Dahod. That is why the health is higher. So it's about how you compare the data and how you process that data towards the ecosystem building. Now, as soon as there will be 5 factories going in Dahod and selling the junk foods to all villages and all, then automatically the athlete ratio will come down. So every bureaucracy has this power of data. They have the system in progress. So any ecosystem transformation happens through pilot projects. If you go self-help group, that was also a pilot project and scaled to an entire nation. So every country can focus on the pilots happening. Now you put a right person who have the right capacity to analyze that particular data and see the good outcomes of it and also see the bad outcomes of it. So I would give you suggestion like car is a good outcome for mobility, but at the same time, the car also emits CO2, which is not a good outcome of something else like the greenhouse or something, climate change, something. So you have to make sure the things are happening that way. There is one case where in Chhattisgarh, the government, and long before, the government decided to give a free ration. Ration means like wheat, rice, and everything. So what happened was as soon as they started giving this for free, the people who used to work as a labor, they stopped working like that, and they got the food and everything for free. So now they did not work anywhere, and that is how the entire agriculture industry started facing an issue of shortage in labor, and the production of agriculture was reduced in the neighboring state and the nearby boundaries. So it has to be something valued as well as balanced, and pilot give you the answer to it. So as soon as any ecosystem has to scale, any pilot can be copied from any outer ecosystem, tested within the ecosystem to see the results, see the longevity and what kind of impact it can create in the future, what kind of good and bad outcomes it is getting, and according to it, if they put the trajectory properly, then they can definitely see from that 100 or 10 or 1,000 pilot which two need to be scaled within the ecosystem. And once it is scaled, I'm very sure it will give you certain kind of outcome which they have not thought to achieve in 10 years. Within 1 year, they can achieve it. So 3 points from this. Number one, increase the number of pilot, help people who are piloting for the nation development. Number two, understand the entire data, analyze the entire data with third party and as well as the researcher, and see what good or bad outcomes it is. Cross verify the good and bad outcomes, balance it in a way it is not going to create a problem in next upcoming years, and then scale the pilot to limited number and then scale to entire ecosystem. So this is how the change in the any ecosystem can be formulated.
Okay, I think that is interesting, that we have to create an idea, come out, pilot it, then present it somewhere to be scaled. Now, for us who are from Africa, probably, and then I like some of them is like not 110 every time percent that you're going to get the support from the bureaucracies or you're going to get the support from the politics. But what I'm getting from what you're trying to tell is, please don't focus on the bureaucracies and the politics first. Just innovate, go ahead of the curve, and then let the government say, okay, so this is how things are done like this. We can copy it, we can scale it out. So your focus should be creating something new and then start with a small society, do it with better quality, and then let other people join in later. So
Right.
when you talked about the lessons learned from one ecosystem and being shared to another ecosystem, my very interesting question is, I've seen it with Honeybee Network, and then shares it. They don't just keep it. But how do we make knowledge sharing, or we make this knowledge that we have got and the creatives accessible to the people out there? How are we going to make sure that these ecosystems are connected? Probably, if you see, from India to Uganda, we are separated by a border and probably a passport, which requires a 3-day or 4 visa process. From there, if I want to do it, probably even in Africa, where from my own country to another country, I will be required to apply for a visa, probably, and then a passport. So these are some of the imaginary lines that have been put where you see something that is happening in India could be alien to an African country. And I'm very serious about that, because if you look at India, the new research that has been brought, that out of 6 people doing AI development, the 6th person is an Indian. But that is incoming. India is doing the same. You're moving state by state, sharing the knowledge. What is your motivation, first of all, to share the knowledge? Because people don't want to share the knowledge. Someone wants to be the only intelligent person in the room. 2, what do you think could be the effect if the knowledge in one state, in one country, is accessible to other people? Yes, Drupal.
So, India, see, if you go back to roots and if you analyze, India has been always like a Vasundhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay, so it will be always with a vision of sharing data and learning and everything across the globe. And if you have seen in COVID vaccination or whatever chance it was, what India got, they were helpful to all possible ways what they can do. And that has been in the roots and the culture of India. So what I see here is, if you go back in 2000 or 1980s, the technology which was scaling, it was been always limited with a lot of nations, so it does not go outside the nation and the economical benefits happen to the country itself. But what I see is like why I am taking this mission vision and everything is, see, water is not going to be as usual what we have after 30-40 years. The issues which we are seeing right now is not going to be same after 20 years or 10 years. So who will tackle all this issue? Who will have the capacity to solve this issue? Is the younger generation which we are training right now. And those generation need to be equipped very well with the different kind of approaches. So to cover those approaches, we need to learn more on how things need to be solved. Just a minute, I will cut the call. So how we need to solve those issues? Coming back to the question which you asked, bureaucracy and different kind of policies are still a struggle point and very large thing to do it. But open source data is one of the key important thing. Currently, with the help of the data which I have in India, so what I have in India, I have all the 650,000 villages data available from the government, which I have taken and put an analysis. From that 650,000, I choose one district, which is one of the 722 districts. So Amreli is the district where I'm working right now. And in Amreli, I have 641 villages. So the entire impact or design which I am designing right now with the ecosystem is for 641 villages. Okay. Once that particular system is been very much piloted and structured, then it will be scaled. Now, what I am doing to develop the ecosystem there? Number one, I am teaching kids the technology, the problem solving approaches, ideation, all those processes to the school there, which might not able to learn this by any other sources or any colleges. Like even the colleges there in engineering won't able to get access to this kind of knowledge in this shorter span. So from the ground level itself, we have selected a school where we provide them the learning opportunities and as well as accommodation facility. If a kid want to learn something and implement, he is welcome to that ecosystem, learn from the ecosystem and establish again a micro ecosystem in his village. So think about, we are looking forward to graduate 641 students from 641 villages within 1 or 2 years from that district itself. And once that ecosystem is flourishing, every kid will be interested in technology, problem solving, and ideation. And to increase their energy to achieve this, we are running different kind of workshop which are available to them. We are training kids from different villages. So the school which we have works as a hub, and there is a school in Babapur. It works as a spoke. So currently that spoke, 2% from the spoke is visiting hub, learning, replicating the learning in the spoke itself. And soon in next 6 months, the spoke, which is Babapur, it will be converted to a hub again. And now Babapur will be helping the nearby villages to implement the same thing. So this is how the scalability will be found. Every taught, every teaching and everything is been replicated with the hierarchical model. Like, okay, there is a person who is a master trainer. His job is to create 10 more master trainer within 6 months. The same thing has to be transferred to the next master trainer. And everything which is totally practically connected to the district and ecosystem itself. Like, let's say the agriculture is one of the key income to that particular district. We are talking about innovations in agriculture. We are talking about different kind of product design in agriculture. We are talking about how we can make agriculture better. So that resonate with that ecosystem. I cannot talk about textile industry there because the textile industry is not so developed there. So the syllabus and the system is different. So anything which is happening, there is two main thing to adapt with. One is constant and second is variable. So let's say in Uganda, the constant thing, if you finalize, okay, the constant thing is kid get vacation for 30 days for sure every year. That is constant. What is variable? So kid does not stay here. They go back. They don't be in that particular timeline in this particular here. Then that's variable. But if you launch a program 3 months before the vacation, there are higher chances 10 kid will participate in the program and they will learn. So now how many schools you can do with? So you got 10 schools, that is constant. How many students, that is variable, and then you implement a program. So that is how the thought process has to be built to transfer the ecosystem. Now coming back to how Uganda can learn from India and how that is possible. So let's say I am very open and I am ready to share whatever learning I have, and I am ready to help with all the modules which I have developed in Tinkering India to provide to Uganda to implement the same. Now what we need there, we need passionate people of team there. So that team will make sure they will create a replica of what I am developing in Amreli to a district there. They implement and do the learning exchange and everything. And as soon as that starts scaling, you now go to bureaucracy and tell to visit that particular district or the school and say, hey, within 6 months, we have achieved this. Would you like to scale or would you like to support us? And that day, they have to do a very small understanding about, yes, let's put this much grant and see how that scale. And if that worked out, I'm very sure within 1 year, you will have 10 ecosystem developing in the same pattern. So this is how the implementation and the work, my data, my research, and my learning will be ready for you to just implement. Your PPTs would be ready. Your KRA KPI of each hierarchy would be ready. So it will be easy to edit or adapt in that ecosystem. So this is how everything is possible if right person, right time, and right implementation happen at the small scale and gradually scaled up to the adaptable and scalable level.
Wow, wow, wow. You are just blowing my mind, and I like people should just share their comments about the same, because if I have 641 villages and I've made sure that from each village I've picked one child to come and learn innovation and go back and start a small ecosystem in their own village, that's one of the best things that we could do for the world. And when you talk about the accessibility of data, and you have almost lakhs of village data, this is really interesting because you have a personalized data for everyone, and that's what we are doing at MedRep. So basically what we are doing at MedRep right now, we are focusing our time in developing MedRep AI, which is going to be a powerhouse for child growth data. And we want to track the child growth from 0 age to around 18 months or 5 years, making sure that that data is available and trying to see why the preventable diseases across the sub-Saharan region are recurring. And we hope we shall have the people join. So the importance of data in decision making is really, really important. And recently I received 2 links from Professor Neil Gupta, which one gave me access to almost half 500,000 patents, and another one gave me data to all Indian innovations that have been done by students over the past years that you cannot get anywhere, and I'll be able to share because they are copyright free. Now, his organization has been able to build such a database and made it available for the people. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to make sure that everyone is included? And this is the best way to do it. And we are excited to have you in Uganda to bring the robotics. That's why I want to have you in the next months coming soon to bring the robotics. And I will use the same approach. At least I'll make sure that from the district of Mubende, we could have 1 kid from each village coming in to join. And you never know, that kid could be the light tomorrow. So this kind of knowledge sharing is interesting. Now, going to our next question, probably before I open up this for the people to ask, is I had this burning question around ecosystems, and I really like the way you are terming it ecosystem, because if you focus on my innovation, I'm going to be great. But if we build an ecosystem, every person will be able to thrive in that ecosystem. So one idea I had is, I recently discussed it with Dr. Gerard from another country, not from Uganda, is I have a dream of developing an incubation center and an accelerator across Africa, which accelerates and develops solutions that look stupid to the people. For example, we have fast food in Uganda, and that is called Rolex for the people who call it chapati and roti in India. To us, is fast food. But if someone could just rebrand it, rebrand the innovation, rebrand the business model, and support 5-10 youth to start different fast food shops, that could be really great for the society. But since we want to focus on PhD and other things, we leave out these grassroots innovators. So at this point of time, I have a burning question, which is, as a beginner, as Uganda, I've not seen a lot of support for the grassroots innovation, and I've just learned it when I come to India, probably last 2 months when I visited your center in Amreli, is where should we start from? Should we start with education? Should we start with which area do you think that, okay, we are at 0, this could be a great start point as we go on to develop a better ecosystem? I want you to give us a picture of where we can start from and what could be the chain as we develop for the next 5 years.
Yes. So, there are very simple steps to do it. Number one, the people who are trying to create the change, make sure they don't die. Okay, because their ideas and their belief, if that dies, they cannot be revoked again. They will leave doing that. So what might try is, let's say there is a person who is willing to teach science in the school, but he is not able to get motivation or proper information. Then make sure you are creating a small community of those kind of people. So in India, what I am trying to do with Srishti during the Shodh Yatra, what I identified a problem. There are many people who collect the seed, the organic seed and the original seed forms, which has been not genetically modified. But all the seed collectors are been not connected to an ecosystem where they know each other. So first thing to develop the right ecosystem is create a proper data set of regionals, then create a category of each kind of people which has been contributing to develop an ecosystem. So you will have a category called green cover. In green cover, you will have a category called person who is collecting the seed, planting the tree, the person who has exceptional knowledge about different kind of varieties of trees. So those people are most important in that particular category is a subcategory. Now, if you actually connect them together without doing a single thing, you are already innovating, because those people will discuss, they will exchange the thought, they will have different kind of ideas sharing. Two people will combine and form a small company and start developing a project. So without doing a single innovation of I, you have actually integrated an entire like-minded people into a small box, and they will definitely innovate. That is very sure. So this is one way to start an innovation or impact in any region or any industry. Number two, it comes to you connect to the right young people who have the highest capacity to learn and scale. So if you go and encourage the kids, so let's say I will tell you, like, go and tell a kid to do a task, and he will say, okay, I will do, I will not do. He's still in a judgment. You go and tell a kid, hey, I'm giving you a challenge that can you throw this ball in that particular ring? Okay. And as soon as the task has been renamed as challenge, he will say, hey, I can do it. Other will say, hey, I can do it more better. And that is how you drive the energy in them. So what I am working right now, me and Suraj are working with is we are creating $100 lab, which is having 100 challenges. Okay. So 100 different kind of challenges would be put in, and each kid has to go through that challenge, and that will cover more than 50% of basic STEM which they have to learn from grade 6 to 8. So that is how we are trying to see if each school get a kit costing 8,500, and that covers the basic STEM and as a challenge based approach. And through that challenge based approach, energy can be driven, and once the energy is driven, people will start speaking, they will start sharing, they will start putting their ideas into implementation. So that is the drive moment. So that is the second way. First way is connecting the right kind of people who are already old, they already have the knowledge, and putting them into one structure. Second is to drive energy in the kids. Now come the third thing. One of the kid will come and say, hey, I want to design something which can help in the tree plantation, and the water which need to be given every 3 days. I want to make sure if we give every 10 days also, the tree will grow. Now what happen is that kid need to be connected with that first segment who is working with the green cover. Okay. The green cover has the right kind of knowledge, information, and data. The kid need that data as soon as possible, so he do not make those mistakes which people have already made. Now, once he get the right data, he will be towards the right solution. He will be towards the right kind of design. So he want to plant a neem tree. He will design the system according to the neem tree, because the water intake, capacity, root, everything is different tree to tree. But who will explain him? The people who are in that particular innovation segment of green cover would be the right person to explain him. So connecting the dot from the ideation stage to the people who are the best would be the right thing. And those kind of conferences, those kind of meetings should happen at regional level. And the people from the regional level should be connected to country level who are already innovating. So this is the two different way to initiate ecosystem. Now, what we are doing in Amreli is right now I am identifying people and their interests. So if I can name it Jal, he is very good at computer and management. Subham, he is very good at R&D. He can learn electronic circuit and everything much faster. Okay. Manav, he is very good at pitching people. He is good at understanding the people emotion. Interpersonal skills are at the highest stage in him. So these are the three students I have identified. Now, these three students will get whatever access they need. I have given them the books. I have given them the data, what they need. I have given them the access to the tools. There are laptops available to them. There are technology available to them. Now, the kid having this energy at the age of consider 15, that triggers their neurons, their connections has been started developing towards problem solving, networking, communication. They can lead communication much easier than any other student because they are already talking to me and many other of my friends. So this is how the nurture of the kids has to be happen once that skills are identified. and there are 19 skills which has been already mentioned in one of the book. So those 19 skill is the syllabus to them. The subjects are different. Subjects are the thing which train them into skills and attitude. But the skills and attitude is the real outcome of a person. It's not the subject and knowledge. And after the generative AI came in the place, it's been already clear to everyone. Like anybody can go and research about any topic through AI, but how to ask the question, how to be creative on the problem solving is the core skill of a person. And that has been very much clear that today's generation is facing a problem in that. So from the first day itself, when we started teaching kids, we don't even tell them how to assemble a robot. We just go and say, hey, this is the robot which has been already made. It is in front of you, and this is the kit. You have to assemble the robot the way which has been in front of you. Now they need to decide what parts will come first, what parts will come second, what orientation it has to be. And it will take half an hour more than the time which has been assembly guideline time. But with that half hour, he will have that self-respect that I did it and I have identified the problem and solved it. That one small trigger is making him ready for taking the next challenge. So this is how it has to be. And if I provide the guideline from the day one itself, I will give them a staircase in the pit itself that you can come through this staircase. Okay, the next time he will ask like, where is the staircase? Okay, but in the life, he will not get the staircase. He has to climb through up. He has to create his staircase through different kind of options. So that is how the kid need to be trained, and that is how the second stage where generation has to be trained has to have this kind of capacities. Then and then the group of the people can take advantage of it, and they can combinedly together solve the problem which is upcoming to their society, community, or the ecosystem.
You know what, Dhruv, you are making me surprised. Last time when I visited your place and I saw kids of 4 years being trained about AI, how to use Gemini, how to use Sora, how to use ChatGPT and other, I was like, how possible this child can generate? And then one day I was sitting and then I saw primary 5 kids generating a whole speech using ChatGPT. I was like, okay, really, that's interesting. And then when we go to robotics, obviously, it's one of the things that cause our patience. When I look at them piling up those robots, it's going to bring out the emotions. Things are not working out, and then you are furious, and then you feel stupid, but you have to continue going. And I think that is what every society and every ecosystem, every parent and every family can do to any child. But let them go out, let them find out the problem, let them solve it. And we are going to be really, really excited to work with Tinkering India and then try to take this vision of focusing on the skill and the attributes of the child rather than the subject. And one of the things I always tell people is people study a subject and they think that's what they're going to do. Probably when someone is good at history, the mother will go like, you're going to be a lawyer. But then these are two different things. This is a profession and this is a subject probably. So we are ready. I'm ready to be the ambassador of that. We have suffered a lot across the sub-Saharan region where we have to depend on other people's innovations, and then we have the innovation, but I think we need a spark, someone to just say, let us build it from the grassroots. Let us start simple and then create value. So we are it has been a great discussion, and I'm happy for having you on this call. I would like to open up the call to different people to ask. I think Dr. Gerard will have some questions around that because he's an interesting young man and trying to develop an ecosystem in his country. And I'm seeing my street lawyer, Okwepwat, he would be having some questions around that because he's also a policymaker. Joshua is the same, Mariam. So if you have any question, please, you could raise up your virtual hand and we will let you in to ask Dhruv any question, whether it is personal, you would like to know how he started, what was the motivation for him to start building an ecosystem of innovators, whether it's about how you could start in your own country. Please let us have the questions come in. For those who don't want to speak or they're in a noisy place, you can type the question in the message and I will be able to read it out to him. So the floor is open for Q&A, and I would like to listen from you. Thank you. Yes, anyone with a question, please raise up your hand. And okay, you can go on and speak. I think that's the problem with Zoom. Yes, Dr. Gerard, could you please unmute and ask your question? I'm muting to let you speak.
Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you, Dorov. I'm not sure if I've pronounced your name correctly, sir.
It's correct. It's correct.
All right. So my question is for a beginner, all right, for a beginner uh, from Africa, a country like my own in Zambia, that has a vision similar to yours. Maybe the person has already started, you have something going on. What are the biggest aspects of scaling up your idea that you can advise such a person? Like, you know, how to expand the idea. Let us say I'm into a program of equipping young pharmacists, for example, people who are in pharmacy, you know, just training them whilst they're, you know, maybe still in school otherwise, or maybe just creating a program about, you know, how to move away kids from substance abuse. Okay, so now what are the ideas to scale up that program from maybe a single community to make that thing bigger? Thank you, sir. And once you are done, I would also love to know how you got here yourself, how you started. I would love to know your story, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. So, see, the first thing I would like to repeat what you asked for. One is like you have a program which is helping community in pharmacy understanding, like how pharmacy need to be set up, how youngster can join that and learn about it and set up a pharmacy, right?
Yes, sir. Correct, sir.
Okay. So basically, see, there are different level of awareness. Like if you see in India right now, 2024, we are talking about AI. But when I was working in a CSR and I was running the campaigns and the sessions, I used to teach a basic AI and basic understanding about AI in 2019 itself, okay, to the kids. So I was telling that like, hey, AI has this three domains. It has like capacity to do computer vision, capacity to analyze your voice, analyze your whatever you're speaking. It is having data statistic. It can generate content for you. So this was been taught in 2019 to the kids, which I was addressing. So same type of situation, if you see in whatever your country is, people might be little bit fear about whether I can achieve that or not, whether I can do it or not. There are always a self fear, like, hey, would I able to do it or not? And that is stopping at the first line of it. Okay, and once they see that, hey, I cannot do it, so they step out of it and they don't participate in a program. So first of all, the first layer of the program should be very simple. Okay, very simple, saying, hey, come, we will play through it, and there will be a small play or a kind of a interaction where he got the fever, we gave the paracetamol. After 2 days, the fever did not went up, so we need to go for a blood test. After blood test, we could not find the parasite, we need to go for this, and a small play to, create a kind of acceptability and understanding towards that. And as soon as they learn a small set of it, they are now more interested to know more details about it. Now you just put a question, what to do in jaundice? So they will say, hey, give a medicine. But first step is not to drink the water from outside, drink boiled water. So now you talk about different kind of parasite and everything. So the things is the mind, the neurons, their interest have started building about knowing more about typhoid, knowing more about tuberculosis, knowing more about other things. And as soon as you pick up those things in front of that, you will see that 6, 7 kids or 6, 7 people from that 50 will start raising hand. They will start questioning out of it. And those are the people who are actually interested toward this kind of knowledge, and they have their capacity toward it. So the first is always, whenever you implement any kind of program, what my rule is, I'm talking from my personal understanding, make it possible and achievable. Okay. So what happen is you want to achieve all 100 out of 100 are interested, and all 100 out of 100 are thinking like, yes, I got to understand the entire scene. So as soon as they do that, from their inside itself, the second thing is they're directly interested and influenced that, okay, second thing also I will understand and process it. So now if you pitch them like, okay, now why the need of pharmacy is there in the ecosystem, why we need to learn this knowledge, why we can go through this kind of ecosystem, and without this we might have these issues, they will listen to you, focused, processed, and now at the end of the thing, when you question them, they will actually answer yes or no. And the chances of answering yes or no is being with the conscious mindset, not with the subconscious. So from converting their subconsciousness towards consciousness, you need one layer, and that one layer is possible and achievable. So if you design anything in between which is possible and achievable in front of them, and they enjoy that particular process, the second stage you achieve is the consciousness of them. And as soon as the consciousness of them it's achieved, you pitch the importance and the connectivity to the community, why it has been very important to it. Some of them will take interest, and the ratio of the person taking interest is higher than the first stage which you do without that stage of possible and achievable.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot. I have, I think I got that part very clear. I think there is also need to be clarity from the start and making them understand that, okay, for them, they can achieve this and it's possible. And I'm sure that way, from the start, people will be able to see the worth or the benefit of them being part of that program. I really appreciate that. I think that was a part that I wasn't clear on. And my last part of the question, just for the sake of motivation, it's just today that I'm meeting you, and I have seen that you are involved into building people's minds. Okay, building people's mind, which is something not too far from what I'm venturing into. So I would love to know how you started, like how you started and how you made it this far. Thank you, sir.
Right. So, see, my personal journey was being like, I also came from a family which has been migrated from a village to the city. And my family wanted me to excel in studies and, achieve a lot of things and get a good job and achieve things. But that was their capacity of thinking. And they always wanted to me achieve those things. And as the regular kid, I was not going to achieve those things, and I failed miserably in my academics. I was not able to, good at academics from the initial days itself. So even I have done two grades multiple times. So this is how, my entire class went to the next class, and I was in the back class, and I am joining the junior class, and that is how it's been my journey in my childhood. The real struggle started when was like, you need a little bit of motivation, and there was other activities which was I was involved with. That was hard work. I used to learn a lot of things with my parents. I used to work. I have learned different kind of work, like, cutting the things, like you working and repairing electronics, and lot of things in my childhood itself, because my father used to do it in front of me. So that was something where I was very unique and very strong enough. And slowly, when I went, I was into an ecosystem which always used to tell me that you are fail in fifth grade. A day came in where I changed the ecosystem and nobody knew that I was failed. Okay, so the two things happened. The transformation started with my interest towards science. I had a little bit of interest towards science, but I never made classwork. I never wrote a book. I never did an homework in my school. One teacher came, and this is where the conscious and subconscious lesson I learned so far was. I was in the class from grade 6, 7, both years. But in 8th grade, the teacher which came into my class, he had a very simple rule. And I don't know why she made that rule, but the rule was very simple. You stand up, you take a book, you read a paragraph, you sit down. Okay. And then teacher will explain that paragraph. Okay. That was the first day after considering 3 years of line, I got an attention in my school. Okay, till that day, there was no attention. I usually don't create a book, homework, nothing. And teacher used to tell me, and I just sit down on the last bench, and this is how the entire 2 year went on. But that teacher made me to, speak in front of a lot of kids. And I read that particular paragraph. I was able to read it, but I was very shy being doing that. And that opened up me. And the first homework book I did was science book, just because that teacher made me stand up. Okay, I got interest in that subject because the teacher told me to read a paragraph. I was hearing what she was explaining. That was the first class where I was attentive. And once that attention came into my side, I was ready to start a book, and I started writing that book. I never gave her for the check and checking and everything. At the end of the year, when I gave that book to the teacher in my oral exam, she was surprised, like, "Oh, you made the book also?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I made, but I was very shy to show you." And that is how my interest started. And then the ninth grade was where I changed the entire school itself. As soon as I changed the school, every teacher acted normally to me. So first thing is, like, what I learned was, in any case, okay, act normal to the kid. That is very important. I run this robotics and every workshop, and the kid mindset is to steal things. Okay, they usually steal motor, they take the things in their pocket and everything. And what I usually do is, I give them the kit itself and tell, okay, you become the trainer. So his intention was to get the things to play with it. Okay, he's not going to build an entire house with the help of that motor, or he doesn't going to be a millionaire with the help of that motor. His intention was clear, to learn something out of it. And I convey that intentional in the different way. And that is how my practice started. Then I went for my diploma in civil engineering, where I got a good professor. I met him. He taught me the value of life and a lot of lessons from Aurobindo and Bhagavad Gita, and all those things helped me to challenge myself that, hey, I can do something better. And there I got my first lesson of the life. My professor told me very simple instruction. He told me, in the world, the best technological college is named MIT. Okay. So whatever you search in Google, you just add your word MIT. So when I search types of dam, I write MIT. When I search how the canal works, I type behind its MIT. So whatever results I get from internet, I was been learning from those results, and those things led me to see the world from an internet perspective. Like whenever I see Google, I see MIT based research and everything from 2010 itself. So as soon as I started seeing them, my thrust started being more. My hungerness was increasing day by day. Oh, this is the big colleges, these are the things happening there, the innovation is like here, the challenge was something different. And I remember in 2011 there was an international competition where there was like, if there is an oil spill in the ocean, and now if you want to cover that oil spill, you need to design a machine, and that is your challenge. And that was the first time I started applying my knowledge to solve a challenge. Okay, I designed a rig which was been floating in the ocean. It will pull all the oil inside it. There will be a pump which will suck the thing. It will create small sausages. I never designed that product practically, but I started thinking, and that was first time I started thinking towards a problem which was international, and I started building around it. And slowly I started Googling what kind of things are already available. And there the science of filtration came in, the science of pump came in, the science of reciprocating pump came in. And that is how whatever I was learning, the parallelly I was implementing and seeing it implemented. And that journey, round to round, round to round, round to round, took me a point where I started learning that my behavior of learning is not theoretical. My behavior of learning is challenge-based approach and the solution-based approach, where I take the challenge, I process it, I learn from it, and then I go forward. And once I do that process, I never forget that particular thing. Never ever. If you ask me from 2009 itself what knowledge I have taken, it's still with me. And that made me very different as an educator. And in 2015, post my graduation, I also was in one of the volunteer in innovation ecosystem. I met Professor Anil Gupta in 2012. So my professor taught me, you go wherever the opportunity is and enter with whatever possible way. So to enter IIM, to enter ecosystem, I used to be a photographer. I had a small digital camera. I used to go and tell, hey, I will do the photography for free. And I used to enter the ecosystem, listen out to the people what they are saying, because YouTube and everything was not there that time. And through those learning, I visited different kind of innovation festivals, I visited different kind of expos, and I learned about machines, what they are doing, how they are doing. And one thing was very clear to me, that this college degree or the knowledge which I am going to get from the college is not sufficient for the thing which I am aiming for. And so I got out of the college and explored everywhere wherever I can. And then I got a small opportunity, and that also to the teacher who told me to search with MIT, I got an event which was happening by MIT in Gujarat itself, near my town. I attended that event, and I was seeing 400 people attending that event, and their mindset, their way culture, what they were talking, what they were discussing. And that was the transformation of me itself. And I decided to learn things which they were doing. And through that, I started learning electronics. I explored the electronics for 6 months, and then I got an opportunity to do work with CSR project of Intel, where my knowledge was very small, but confidence was something that I will be able to do it. So I was knowing 3 sensors, few programs, and Arduino. And the day I started teaching, a kid will come to me and say, "Hey, I want to learn this sensor." I used to tell them, "Okay, I will teach you tomorrow morning. Entire night I will learn, next day I will teach." And that is how I have learned a lot of different kind of electronics and different kind of components. And then few more times, like the ecosystem come and help you out. So I got a friend who told me, "Hey, you are doing this course would be good for you." And I entered a course which was by MIT. It was Fab Academy, where 19 modules about making almost anything. So that course I took, I learned different kind of technology and everything there. And then I implemented the same kind of learning round and round with the kids around me. And during the CSR project, corporate social responsibilities, I have been connected with a lot of kids which will come and ask me various kind of questions. So they will come and say, "Hey, I want to build a mosquito killer, which will be UV light based near the pond. And as soon as the larva comes in, it will kill all larva and mosquito won't be there." Then again, the research will start whether the penetration of UV will be underwater or not. We will Google it. And the cycle went on and on and on. And that is how I got a lot of learning through student itself. So it was more about student asking me the question, and then I was learning. And slowly then I decided to why this cannot be done in every villages. And that was the challenge I took. And then I started building the ecosystem, thinking about ecosystem. Then I understood this cannot be done this way. Then I tried the other way, and it keep on happening. And now, after a lot of travel and everything, I decided I will work on one district, and from the one district I will scale, design, I will design an IT software, I will design an ecosystem, and that will be connected with the bureaucracy as well as the local innovators, and everything will be well connected and well understood. So then it can be scaled faster. And this, once it is designed, that can be replicated in entire world. I visited East Timor and lot of different countries also. I learned from there also. I visited different colleges in US, where I studied about what kind of scalability they are working with, how they were able to achieve this kind of technology, what kind of funding comes to them, what are the sources of funding. And then finally decided, if I want to achieve this, I need to have a structured engine which can connect these dots. And there are 3 layers in it. First is where I don't even work, the innovation should happen. That's what I told you. I connect people. Second is I need to create a generation which is ready to solve problem. So there where I am working with the schools. And the third is I need to have stories which is connected to the people and connect that story back to the people. And that's where my traveling comes in. So I travel 6 months a year. And in that 6 months, I meet people, connect them. I take their videos and show to the kids. I talk about their stories to the kids. So these 3 things are connected. And it is on 4 main principles: innovation, motivation, engineering, and creativity. So these are the 4 main keywords I focus on, and I narrow down, and then I go to the kids and give it to them. So this is how the entire journey has been till now.
Wow, 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 wow. Dhruv, sir, for those who have met you the first time, I would like to tell Dr. Gerard and everyone on the call that he had to leave his job, and he threw down the job and he's like, you know what, let me focus on the society. But in the answer, you mentioned something around the school made you feel like a failure. And that's how everyone felt. There's this time my geography teacher came and he had set a question. One was how to solve the problems facing rivers in Uganda, and one was how to solve the problems in rivers in Canada. So I had studied the rivers in Canada, so I answered the question very well for the rivers in Canada. But my mindset told me I should not answer this question of how to solve the problems facing rivers in Uganda because I did not revise it. So over the years, that's how the education system has made us feel like failures, because how come someone can solve Canadian problems but cannot bring solutions to the Ugandan problems? And the only problem was I was trained to cram the answers, come and write, and anything outside of what I revised that I don't know. So this brings me to the question from Miss Kate. She has written and said, what would be the advice you could give to the schools in Africa or to all those schools that have not obtained the innovative approach to education?
So see, very simple. I always have this small formula called in the center it is equal to. Okay. So if you teach theory, the people can be theoretical. If you teach practical, the people can be practical. So it's up to you how much time. So in India, it's very demanding, like in parents and the people like, okay, our kids should be practical. They should be doing this and that. But if you go to schools, they are 90% doing theories. Okay. So they will not able to do practical thing as better as the people who can do it. So what I suggest is in any ecosystem, so if you are putting and teaching, telling kids like, okay, there is a chapter called germination, give the kid 5 seeds and tell that, okay, you have to germinate all 5 seeds and show it in next 10 days. So then it has been practical. And then the kid engage, he will put the seed, he will put the soil, he will put the water and everything. And from the 5, there will be few, it will be germinated, few will be short. Then you talk about, okay, seed might not be better. Do you talk about different things? And then they will learn what? They will learn pattern, they will learn observation, they will learn comparison, they will learn system. So they will learn things from the day one itself. You don't need to teach those things as a syllabus. Okay. I have seen a lot of subjects itself is the entire spoon feeding pattern. Like what is dam? Dam is a structure in the river which can do this. Okay. Those are the things not needed. Why Hoover Dam has been selected at the site? Why Three Gorges Dam is the highest dam? Okay. Why dam need a channel to have a transportation in between? Those are the subjects to teach. They will by default learn why the dam and what the dam is. Okay, so the science is something like that. Like in the subject we say, okay, submarine, but talk about why submarine was been started. What was the first submarine? How it was looked like? From that first submarine, what challenge was been solved? What was the second challenge it was been solved? What was third challenge it will been solved? Because when they will going to be in a company, the company will say, hey, we are here and we want to go here. How they will relate it if they don't know why history is important and why the future is being connected with the history? They won't be able to implement anything. So first stage is at least create one Saturday showcase in a school. In that, let people speak, let students speak about different kind of innovation. Let's say it's a May going on, talk about different kind of motivational stories. Okay, every Saturday every kid will come with one leader and talk about, okay, this leader motivate us to do this. From 100 kid, few kid will be connected to that part. Next month, you talk about June, you talk about environment. Okay, you take environment as a core theme and talk about different kind of environment issues happen. Talk about different kind of species which travel. Like in India, we have bubble tree. Okay, it is called acacia, I think, and that has been traveled from Portugal, and it came to India, and it is creating a lot of barren land. So now if you teach those things right now, the kid will able to understand what the ecology is very important, how it is connected to nation development, why it is very serious issue now. Number 3, you can talk about health. Health is one of the core factor. You will earn 50 lakh, 1 crore rupees, $1 million. But as you know, your kidney fail, you want to invest again 2 million there. Okay. So as a kid, lot of like, if you see 1930 video from New York Street, people are healthy. People are very well organized. Okay. In their health. But as soon as the processed food attacked, okay, in next 100 years, they are going to see obesity, kidney, heart, every issue is there. Okay, so health budget has been increased so much to control that. So these are the common things which need to be introduced in a practical way. And that has to be at least 20% time of their studies rather than only 5% or 2%. and then slowly they will start questioning the things, and teacher has to be open to question. If teacher cannot say I don't know, then he is not the teacher. That's what I see. So every teacher has to come up saying, okay, I don't know, we will discuss it tomorrow. And that day teachers should research about it. I am very sad to say in India, like teacher once get the job, they stop researching, they stop studying. Okay, they just cover up the basic syllabus, and that is the where India has not been expertise of. Now the transformation has happened due to digitalization. Now kid can learn anything from anywhere. So now if you see, there are people who are 19-year-old and can edit the entire movie itself. Okay, there are people who are 18-year-old and they can code very well. So those students who are brilliant, they have started learning from the sources from YouTube itself. And now there is a way because of bandwidth and internet. Think about in Uganda, you got bandwidth and internet after 1 or 2 years, but do you have a plan to implement it? So it's about like be ready when you get the source. Let's say tomorrow morning, a bureaucracy change and a person come and say, hey, we want to scale your project, but are you ready to scale? So like you have to think that way, like our input should be ready for an output. Okay. Or our input should create an output which is scalable. So if you run a small program, make it in a way, if tomorrow a person come and say, I want to implement for 100 schools, you are ready to scale. So that should be something, whatever you do, keep it small and simple and scalable. So small, simple and scalable, make sure the participation increases, and the participation bring brilliant minds, and those minds help you to scale more faster. But if it is not small, simple and scalable, that will actually reduce the people to come and participate in the movement, and they will not scale.
Wow, wow, wow. I think this, I need to send this to my teacher because, you know, that day I felt stupid, but it's really interesting on how you are teaching. And I saw one of your classes where you bring in expertise, successful businessmen to come and talk to the kids of 5 years, and you find them motivated. And I think that is better than teaching them a business model that is on paper. So another question we have from Miss Kate is, what are the challenges you have faced and how did you overcome them?
Okay. So see, there are a lot of things which will be personal minded. So I am a person much emotional. I have a goal-oriented mindset. And sometimes due to, much attachment, you always have certain negative as well as positive things in you. Okay. One thing what I have a positive part is everything is open in my ecosystem. Like whatever I know, my team members know. Okay. So that is something which is good thing, because my team member can easily take up the role and they are being ready to replicate me much faster. Number two, emotion, where I was bad. So I was emotionally so much connected that I was not able to take those kind of decision which need to be good for scalability. Okay. So sometimes those personal traits also help you to step down in certain situations. I was not able to defend where I was not able to tell that, okay, this is wrong because of my emotional attachment to certain people. But later on, I have learned this so far, like I am now open to talk to anyone on the day itself what I felt. I say, hey, this is thing I am thinking. I'm not saying you are like that, but I have thinking like this. So what can be the issue why I'm thinking this? As soon as that come on the table, the clarification start happening, and that made me and my teams much stronger. And currently our team has been getting more and more stronger with this kind of approaches. Challenges I faced, funding. Yes, funding is one of the great issue. But trust me, if you have a great team, funding is not an issue. So funding is till the issue where you don't have the right people in the team. As soon as you get the right people and right idea, the funding issue will be solved. Number two is process. Don't focus on the goal. Focus on the process. Like it's been 1 year, I think, I have started focusing on the process. It's been 3 months I left the job, but I have trust on my process rather than the goal. So as soon as I see the process is happening correct, I can see the result will be sure something around this. It would be from 70 to 90. But I'm very sure it would be above 70 because I trust my process. I don't trust the goal right now. Okay. Goal has been one time to think, but process is daily thing to achieve. I am trying to develop SOP every Saturday. I design like, okay, if this is the case, what need to be changed? And if this has to be changed this much, what are the efforts? What are the impact? This practice was been not done earlier, and that has cost me time and money both. Okay. So I would always say the challenges I have faced and how I overcome is because I started thinking with the process, which I was not thinking earlier. Earlier, I was thinking like, okay, I want to achieve this and I will achieve this, and I start working without process. So what happened is I was not rhythmic. I was not in a routine. I was not having the right clarity about the problem and situations. So it created a problem. Now, when I decide like I want to achieve 621 villages, I decide 10 villages in a month I have to achieve. And for 10 villages, I need to do this thing. And when I do this for 10, I'm open that, okay, one village won't come, two village will leave in next 1 year, 1 month, but only three village will come back. So I am only looking forward for one village which is ready to join and create a ecosystem and create an example. As soon as that example is very much scaled, media and everything is covering up, 641 village will see that. And from that 641, I will get 100, which will come and talk to me on my desk that I want to start this. And their interest would be there. Their participation would be there. And then it will scale. Because from my side, if I pressurize, it is not going to transform. It should become within them. So this is how I have learned to overcome the challenges with process-based thinking, understanding and categorizing the system. Even the data has to be categorized. Initially, what I talked about Amreli 641 villages, it was not in my mind. I was thinking country level transformation. I was running country level workshops, and that was being coming with a dilute participation. Here, what I'm working with, I have direct connect, direct bonding, so I can get my outcome much faster, and the impact is also coming up slowly. Yes, I'm not reaching country level, but when I want to, my data process and everything is ready. So anybody can easily replicate is my goal rather than me doing everywhere. So once my goal was much clear and transparent, like I am not the one which will do everywhere. I am the one which will find the solution, find the process and find the implementation plan. Then anybody can replicate. So ABCD is what the goal I have. Anybody can do. So everything I design from the day one, I put the limitation that anybody can do, then and then I scale.
Wow, wow, wow. I think the biggest thing I've learned from that is focus on the process and not the goal. And in my earlier days of entrepreneurship, I'm pumped up. I'm like, we need to make these midlife products everywhere, anywhere, anytime. But that comes with consequences. That comes with you will feel like a failure in your first stage of life. And but again, when you focus on the process, you learn, you relearn, you move on your own pace, you judge your yesterday and then compare it to today and prepare for tomorrow. So it's a great lesson. So the other question Kate was asking was around what inspired you to start Tinkering India?
Right. So thinking, see, I never thought I will be traveling across the globe. I'll be reaching out to the people. I'll be visiting MIT, Stanford, or Yale. Okay. So when a kid of a farmer who migrated from a village to a city, and I never thought I will achieve this kind of things in this particular age or this way. So when I was visiting a lot of schools, the kid used to come and ask questions, okay, and they used to do certain things. I always see a kid as me there. And I decided like there are this many villages, this many people, and this many people are going through this industrial way of learning. And there are kids which are having the capacity which doesn't get the right guidance. Because the way I got the keyword MIT in 2010, a lot of kid doesn't get those kind of keyword in their routine education. So I decided I should start Tinkering India. In that, what I will do, I will start pushing the things which can be act as a awareness from one-way communication. And that one-way communication itself will create a kind of ecosystem where what I got as a keyword, what I got as a challenges or competition or participation and the people in my network, the same thing should happen within their comfort and connectivity in a nearby area. Okay. So as I got Kavan who joined earlier, okay, he taught me basic computing, okay, and the coding part and all. So if he has not taught me those things, I won't even think about data right now. So sometimes a small trigger at the earlier age can help you to think beyond your imagination, and that will separate you from the people which is next to you or next to your competitor. And that is how you will able to implement the things much faster and a better way. So that networking can be done at young age itself. And to do that thing, I thought Tinkering India would be one of the important initiative to give that particular thing. And then I started putting my little bit of part-time and everything on it. And then finally I decided this cannot be done part-time. I will start full-time, and for full-time I will have a supply ecosystem where my bread and butters will come from. But the main focus would be creating awareness. So awareness, and the content is open source and open to all. But if they want to get material there, I will create my margin of 20% and I will survive with my team. But content is all open source. So anybody can buy from anywhere, do from anything, but the content, the process, the implementation part is open to everyone. They want to copy it from YouTube and they can implement. So this is how the Tinkering India and the vision started. And this is how I'm scaling right now into multiple cities. So this is how it has been till now.
Wow, thank you. We have finished the questions from Kate. Any other person with any question, please don't leave Dhruv by to go without learning something new. For our brothers and sisters who want to go into social impact and social development, he's the right man to answer your questions. So any other person with a question, please open your mic and unmute and ask the question. Yes, Joshua.
Hello, Dhruv, sir, Emmanuel, everyone on the call. How are you doing? So for me, I just had one question, like, what would you tell to someone out there, to some young person out there who wants to start up something, they want to innovate something and create impact, let me say where they come from, but they are fearing to take that step because of the way the society views most innovations these days. They normally look at it as if it is going to fail, as if it is not going to happen, and then they fear to start that innovation. So what would you tell that person or that young person there?
Okay, so here, like in local language, we have one word for it and we name it as pagal. Okay, it's a mentally not perfect person to accept in society. That is what it defines. So you start thinking itself like, okay, I am that person and people will think anything about me. And even if Galileo or any person, if you see, everyone has been going with the same approach. Any person who is doing something different, people will initially tell, hey, this is not the right thing. This is not the way it has to be taught. You are not perfect. You are not thinking the right way. But if you see, the same time, he's actually not thinking the right way. But that is the first step to think the right way. Once you find yourself decided, I want to solve this, initially you will be always wrong because you will be thinking in a wrong process. You will be thinking in a wrong direction or something like that. But how that direction need to be corrected? You think in multiple direction, then you will find the right direction. Okay. So there are two approaches. Number one, don't tell anything to people what you are doing. Only tell to the people who are good to you. So they will connect you with the right people, and you be silent and observe. Okay. That is the best way to do it. And that way you will able to create your confidence, and you will not have struggle with the people to answer a lot of things to them. Second way is you tell everyone, you tell that I am doing this, and also tell that yes, I am going to fail, but I won't leave until I am trying it. Okay. So what happen is, until you try, people won't come and tell you that why you are trying. They will consider that, okay, he's not going to stop until he try. But what will happen is, like, if you consider me, the first robot I built, okay, I was been fascinated to build that robot. That was the first time I thought, like, hey, I want to build this kind of thing. And I went to the market and I was in front of the shop. I got the name of the shop by some person, and he told me, go here and you will get the things there. And I went there and I did not have the data like what to do, go there. And I said, hey, I want to build a robot, kind of this robot. And he asked me, okay, what type of motor you need? And I said, hey, I don't know what kind of motor I need. I asked him what kind of motor people purchase. And he said, okay, they take this motor. I said, okay, give me 4 of them. So sometimes the journey is something stupid, and you will think like that. Okay, hey, but that day I realized this is something which is I'm learning. The next day I went home and I tried that motor and it did not work out with 5 kg torque. Okay, the 5 kg on top of it. And I went back to the person, say, hey, this motor doesn't work. It does not take 5 kg. And he said, hey, this won't take 5 kg. It's 500 RPM. You need to reduce RPM to increase the torque. And I did not even know what torque was that time. But he told me, you take 60 RPM, it will have the highest torque. So I took 60 RPM, went back home and create a small robot. And the task of the company, I got 2 instructions from my senior. Make your robot take 5 kg weight and make sure you able to push the robot. So I only focus on those 2 things. And that was been, I'm a civil engineer guy building a robot. No one from my college was participating. I was only the diploma holder that time, from the diploma participating towards degree. And at that time, all degree student came when they were doing this 500 RPM motor and trying to push without focusing on the weight. And I was the one who took 2 time trips, 8 kilometer long, to go back to the shop, cry, fake crying to the shop saying, hey, please exchange, please exchange. And he finally exchanged. And with the 2 motors, I was able to build high torque motor based robot, which was able to push the other one. So this is how the journey starts. And once I did that, once that was done, I was able to do it what I am doing today. Okay, so it's been very much connected with the mindset and the approach you have rather than what people talking about you. Okay, when I started my journey in my hostel, people were like, okay, what you are doing, this and that. And today, all of those friends consider it like, okay, you are doing that, that's why you are here. So it takes time to, prove. But at that day, I was not knowing that I will be able to do all these things. But the process and approach from that day was similar what I am doing today. So it's all about, you should not leave your process. You should refine it as the time go, and you should learn from each implementation, learn from the failure, and refine yourself little bit every day. That refinement would take you up to the transformation of yourself into a different personality, which people are not doing. So when a person says like, I want to innovate something, trust me, I have thought hundreds of ideas, but that hundreds of ideas never gone into implementation. But that hundreds of idea has made me to think about Tinkering India, and now that Tinkering India is scaling. Okay, but if I have not thought that 100 ideas to implement, it won't able to do this. So this is how it was.
Yes, Joshua, any other questions, or let's hope your question is answered.
Oh yes, my question is answered. I'll go also out there to motivate people.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Drupal, I think I've liked the way you have said that you focus on refinement and that will take you to transformation. So this is really, really a great lesson to take out of today, and I hope I will be using it everywhere I go. And there's this speaker, is a Canadian psychologist called Jordan Peterson. He said, if you want to learn anything from the community, you should watch the world as if you don't know it, as if it is alien to you. And when you told me that you asked the shopkeeper what kind of motor are people buying, so give me that humbleness to say that, okay, I don't know, so teach me, is one of the way we can elevate ourselves and grow faster. So any other person with a question, please unmute. I'll take 1 or 2 more questions before we close and have closing remarks from Dhruv. And we hope he will be giving us sessions maybe every Saturday of the month, because this looks interesting and the people are learning. Yes, any other person with a question, please unmute and ask. Yes, anyone? Okay, so I will ask this question from Kate if no one has a question. So Kate is saying, we have some people who are on Zoom live, who are on YouTube live, so we forgot them. So she's asking that, can Dhruv please explain briefly on mindset development?
Mindset development. See, there are a few things over here. So first thing comes as the mindset is the outcome of spirituality, that I totally believe, and it's very important because spirituality, builds you in a way where you don't lose the trust. Okay, the trust on that you can do something and you can do something better of humanity. Okay, so I'm not covering thing, but I'm just covering the core focus what humanity is. And the humanity perspective comes from your spiritual angle. Until you don't think spirituality, you will be in certain numbers, but those numbers will be the game of business, but won't able to satisfy you in the longevity or longer end. It will not create a people around you which is giving you the positive energy. So first thing, mindset comes from spirituality, and spirituality comes from humbleness, being very simple to the people, and being thinking like how I can help the society and how society will be good to everyone, not only to me. Okay, because many times people come and think, hey, society is not good to me, so why I need to be like that? So that is not the way to think. And once you think like that, you always think in a better way to solve problems which are towards community, which are towards the larger ecosystem. And as soon as you start thinking that, the process of innovation and entrepreneurship is already ended and embarked in you. So this is how the thought process of mind is. Second most important thing is mindset come from leaders and motivation. So the person or the kid has to have that aura of those people who are towards that ecosystem. If the kid will have the aura of that kind of ecosystem, he will be tending towards that. But if kid is having an ecosystem on an aura of like, okay, this is how the community has transformed, or this is how I need to do it, then he will be back to the community and do the transformation. Otherwise, what will happen is he will lead the way other people are leading. So as a adult or the people in the ecosystem should try, like the aura should be something which is motivating the kid. That's what I have these 4 words: innovation, motivation, engineering, and creativity. So motivation should come from those people where the society has to go towards. Okay, we should not motivate the people who are dancing on the stage. We need to motivate the people who are dancing for saving the forest, the people who are attracting people or enjoying the nature with that dance to convert the ecology better. Okay, so everything has a connection, everything has a bondage. Okay, and if you put a people who is conserving the nature in front of them, from the 100 kid, one will think about nature conservation. So this is how the thing has to be. So mindset need a line of path or a guiding star. Now it comes a process, the education, the knowledge, the techniques, the technology, which is a path how to achieve it. And how to achieve it has a different. So number thing is, don't pressurize kid like make a fish to climb a tree or make a monkey to cross the river. Okay, so make sure find those kids much faster and give them the right ecosystem to learn that more and more. And you will definitely find like a person who is not good at engineering might be the person who is good at speaking and making more engineers out of community. Okay, he can be a good motivational speaker rather than repairing a car. So make sure he's right having a mic in a hand or a spanner in a hand. So that is how a teacher or a transformation of society can happen through the leadership or the people who are leader to it. So this is something how the mindset are built.
Yeah, really interesting. And I hope Kate is answered. So please, before I ask Dhruv Bhai to give us the closing remarks and my closing remarks, any other person with any question that is burning and you would like Dhruv Bhai to answer it before he leaves, for those who are on our YouTube live, you can leave a comment. We shall really read it. I think Dhruv Bhai will have access to that and we shall answer your question. So any other person with any question? Lydian, Ismail, Mariam. Okay, fine. So this is really interesting. We are humbled again for hosting you, Dhruv Bhai, and sharing your knowledge with us from ecosystem to innovation. And we believe that we are going to live here with a mindset to create impact, a mindset to stop being crybabies and crying about the policies and the difficulties across the sub-Saharan African region or across the African continent as the mother continent, but go out there to start small, scale up, and create impact that we want to see. So at this moment, I would really ask you to leave the words that you would like everyone on the call and those who will be watching our recorded Zoom live to let you you would like to tell them and to create an ecosystem in the mindset first. So please go on to give us your closing remarks.
So one thing I like to always replicate to the people whenever the people ask me what need to be done. Think about whatever opportunities you got. Okay, can you give the same opportunity to the next generation? Okay, that should be very simple question to ask yourself. And if you are able to do that for 10 people in your lifetime, that is more than enough what you have done for the society. If you do it more, that's great. But at least as a responsible person from a community, society, or on a earth, you should able to do it like whatever better opportunities I got, should I will be able to give it to 10 more individuals. And as soon as you start thinking that way, the transformation happens in yourself as well as in the society. That's what I always believe.
Okay, really, really. Thank you. I'm so excited to have you. And we are going to have this video on Tinkering India YouTube channel. So people can go on, watch, share with your friends, and we shall have some clips cut down for you people for the most interesting. You can really leave us a comment on the YouTube, and we hope Group by will always be coming back to share more knowledge with us, and we shall be preparing more questions for you.
Most welcome.
Sure. Thank you all for joining in, and see you soon, maybe the next date we shall be sharing. Thank you, David.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.